I just got dropped into a novel, waking up in the body of Alexander Sterling, the worthless heir to the Northern Range. And my fiancé just publicly dumped me at our own engagement party. Alex, the man I love, is Leo Ryder. Now that he's back, there's no way I can marry you, Isabella Vance declared. I'm officially calling off our engagement, right here, right now. The story's golden boy, Leo Ryder, drew his sword. Alex, if you don't agree, I swear I'll slaughter your entire family one day. The original Alexander Sterling was a complete doormat for Isabella, a simp who would have gladly died for her. So, everyone here expected me to just roll over and let them walk away. Instead, I spoke, my voice calm and low. Excellent. You have the guts to publicly humiliate the Sterling family. In that case, kill them all. Right here, right now. At the Sterling estate, during the engagement party, the moment Leo Ryder, the novel's destined protagonist, showed up, Isabella Vance had shot to her feet and shouted at me. Alex, I don't love you at all. If your Sterling family hadn't pressured mine, I never would have agreed to this engagement. The man I've always loved is Leo. Today, I, Isabella Vance, am officially ending our engagement. Then came the hero's threat, sword drawn and all. Alex, if you refuse, I'll make sure the Sterling name is wiped from the face of the earth. I was still dazed, having just woken up in this world. But the plot of the book came flooding back to me in an instant. This Alexander Sterling was just a side character, a pathetic loser who existed to be trampled on. He was obsessively in love with the female lead, Isabella. In the original story, to make her happy, he not only stepped aside for the main couple, but also funneled a fortune and family resources to them. The moment the hero, Leo, reached the pinnacle of his power, becoming a so-called apex-tier warrior, he led the Vance family in an assault on the Sterling estate. The entire household was massacred, down to the last servant. And the happy couple? They lived happily ever after, like something out of a fairy tale. I remembered reading that part and cursing out the author. The next thing I knew, I was here. With my temper, there was no way I could stomach this. I didn't even think. I just slapped Isabella clean across the face. God damn it. Every resource your family has, every bit of power you cling to, came from my family, from the Sterlings. I roared. And now you stand here, call off our engagement, and slap us in the face in front of everyone? I've been way too good to a bitch like you. Isabella clutched her swelling cheek, staring at me in disbelief. Alex, you hit me? You always said you loved me. It was all of that lie. You said you'd do anything to make me happy. All I'm doing is calling off an engagement. Is it really that big of a deal? Leo Ryder was stunned, too. This wasn't in the script. The guests started whispering. Is Isabella Vance insane? The Sterling heir has the family, the talent, the looks. He's the total package. And she's dumping him. Alex has been so good to her, giving her anything she asked for. The Sterlings practically bankrolled the entire Vance family's rise. How could she be so ungrateful? Exactly. And to do it publicly, to humiliate the Sterlings like this? She's lost her mind. You know, based on how the heir used to be, he probably would have just agreed. I don't know what happened, but it's like he's a completely different person. I glanced at the story's hero and heroine, my eyes ice cold. Sterling Guard, where are you? The captain of the estate guard, Marcus Cole, dropped to one knee. Sir, your orders? Kill them. What? Leo jumped in front of Isabella. Alex, are you insane? You're going to kill Bella over something this small? Small? Publicly disgracing one of the most powerful families in the country was a small thing? Are the people in this book all idiots? Besides, if I don't kill you now, am I supposed to just wait for you to get strong enough to wipe out my entire family? Alex, you said you loved me, Isabella cried. Is this how you treat me? Even Captain Cole hesitated. Everyone in the estate knew how much Isabella meant to me, to the old me. He wasn't sure if I was serious or just trying to scare them. Oomph. Alex, you've disappointed me so much, Isabella said, her tone shifting to one of moral superiority. All you ever wanted was to possess me. Don't you know that real love is wanting the other person to be happy? I found the person who can make me happy, and instead of wishing me well, you threaten us? That's not love at all. Holy shit, what kind of twisted logic was that? This author really went all out on the female-centric fantasy. I'm telling you, Alex, let's leave right now, she warned. Otherwise, we can't even be friends after this. My face darkened. I shot an annoyed look at Marcus Cole. Still waiting? Or have my orders as the Sterling heir suddenly stopped meaning anything? Cole didn't hesitate this time. He drew his blade and lunged at Leo, who was still shielding Isabella. The other guards moved in, forming a protective circle around me. Leo scrambled to parry the attack with his own sword. Boom! A powerful shockwave erupted from the clash, sending nearby tables flying. Plates and glasses shattered, food and wine splattering everywhere. The weaker guests were thrown back, rolling on the ground and screaming in pain. The scene was pure chaos. Leo, a Tier 8 combatant, didn't budge an inch. But Captain Cole, a Tier 9, was forced back a dozen steps, a look of pure shock on his face. I had to admit, Leo really was the chosen one. He could fight above his weight class and still come out on top. Good thing he was still in his early stages. Time to nip this problem in the bud. Two of the estate's elite protectors, both Grandmaster class, materialized at my side. They bowed. Young Master, Alex, using your family's power to attack us doesn't make you strong. Leo shouted, if you have any guts, fight me one-on-one. If I win, you let me leave with Bella. The original Alex had decent potential, but he was only a Tier 6. I'd have to be an idiot to take that deal. Seeing the Grandmasters appear, Isabella's father, Richard Vance, rushed to stand in front of Leo and his daughter. Young Master Sterling, this is all my fault. I failed to raise my daughter properly. I'll be sure to discipline her when we get home, he said, trying to smooth things over. Truthfully, the Vance family would be honored to have Bella marry into your family. But, as she said, her heart belongs to Leo now. Love is a matter of mutual affection. You can't force it, can you? I didn't even look at him. My voice was glacial. Take the entire Vance family into custody. If anyone resists, kill them without mercy. Yes, sir. Hundreds of Sterling guards acknowledged the order and swarmed the Vance family members among the guests. The Vances, of course, weren't going to submit quietly. They struggled and fought back. What? What do you think you're doing? Touch me again, and I swear, I'll cut you down. Don't you know who our Bella is to your young master? He's wrapped around her little finger. I'll have him kill you all. You damn servants, let me go. The guard showed no mercy to those who resisted. Blades flashed, and in seconds, 4 or 5 of them were cut down. The remaining Vances finally understood the gravity of the situation. They screamed in terror, all resistance draining out of them. Alex, you dare have my cousins killed? Isabella shrieked. You kill these guards right now, and get on your knees and apologize to me. If you don't, I will never forgive you. I stared at her like she was the dumbest person on the planet. Isabella, you really are clueless, aren't you? You actually think, after all this, that I'm going to let you walk away from here alive. I glanced at the 2 Grandmasters beside me. What are you waiting for? Kill these 2 degenerates for me. And remember, make it quick and brutal. Don't give them any chance for a comeback. Yes, young master. Just then, a booming voice echoed through the hall. I like to see who dares. An immense pressure washed over everyone present, so powerful it made the air crackle. A black-clad old man appeared in a blur of motion. The sheer force of his presence was suffocating. Leo's eyes lit up. Master, you're here, he cried out in relief. The newcomer was Leo's master, Master Valerius, Vice Director of the Aegis Order. His power level was Demi-Saint class. Meanwhile, the Sterling family's elite forces and its 500,000-strong private army were all deployed up north with my father, General Sterling. They were busy holding the line against the Scythian cartel's latest incursion. Right now, the strongest fighters at the estate were Grandmaster class. No match for a Demi-Saint. I looked at the old man coldly. Master Valerius, does the Aegis Order intend to interfere in the affairs of the Sterling family? Young Master Sterling, your apprentice was indeed reckless, but his crime doesn't warrant death. I hope you can find it in your heart to be magnanimous and let this go. I laughed, the sound dripping with scorn. Magnanimous? Your apprentice publicly crashes my engagement, steals my fiancée, and makes my family the laughingstock of the entire nation, and you want me to be magnanimous? Valerius bowed his head slightly again. It is true that Leo and the young Miss Vance were in the wrong, but her father has already promised to discipline her. At the same time, I will severely punish my wayward student and offer you a full apology. Would that be acceptable? I cut him off. No one humiliates the Sterling family and walks away unscathed. I don't care who they are. A flash of anger crossed Valerius's face. He spoke through gritted teeth. Young Master Sterling, do this as a favor to me, Valerius. Consider it a debt I will owe you. In the original novel, the Aegis Order was a major force in the destruction of my family. The idea of owing him a favor was laughable. I wasn't about to give him an inch. Valerius, who the hell do you think you are? I sneered. Does the Aegis Order truly wish to make an enemy of the Sterling family? I was betting he wouldn't dare. The Sterling family was at the height of its power. Besides our massive army, we had 2 Saint-class powerhouses and the nation's only Apex tier warrior, the legendary Silas, known as the Wraithblade. Even though Silas had been seriously injured in a battle with a former Scythian warlord and was only at 30% of his peak strength, he could still effortlessly eliminate a typical Saint-class opponent. If my father, General Tiberius Sterling, truly got angry, not just the Aegis Order, but the entire federal government in D.C., we'll have to think twice. The only reason Isabella Vance had the nerve to disrespect the Sterling family was because the original Alex was such a pathetic simp. In the book, when my father, General Sterling, found out about this, he flew into a rage and ordered the entire Vance family to be wiped out. But the original Alex stopped him, threatening to kill himself. As the vice director of the Aegis Order, Master Valerius was used to being treated with the utmost respect. He'd never suffered a humiliation like this. A murderous glint flashed in his eyes. Young Master Sterling, are you telling me you refuse to grant me this courtesy? That's right. This pathetic couple must die. And what if I insist on taking them with me? Then by all means try. I turned to my men. Grandmasters, keep Valerius busy. Everyone else, kill that couple. Full force. Yes, young master. Valerius's face changed. He yelled at Leo and the others. What are you all standing there for? Run. Leo and the remaining Vancés snapped out of their stupor and scrambled for the main gate. The battle erupted instantly. The two grandmasters, both masters of the blade, flanked Valerius, their swords cutting through the air in a synchronized assault. The energy from their blades lit up the night. Valerius met them with his own long sword, its energy weaving a brilliant, deadly web. Boom! Boom! The energies collided, unleashing devastating force. A violent gale ripped through the estate's main courtyard. Dirt and stone were torn from the ground, and the courtyard was left pocked with craters. The three combatants were all thrown back by the impact, but they landed on their feet and charged at each other again in the same instant. The courtyard became a maelstrom of blade, energy, and sword light. The deafening roar of their battle was continuous. The ground was torn apart, trees were shredded, and rocks were sent flying through the air like shrapnel. Although my two grandmasters were clearly on the defensive, they managed to keep Valerius completely tied down. On the other side of the battle, the Vance family members were being cut down. A dozen had already fallen. Richard Vance and Isabella had managed to escape the initial onslaught. Leo fought a desperate rearguard action, his body covered in wounds, bleeding profusely. Captain Cole was clearly no match for him and was being steadily pushed back. In a final, desperate move, Leo ignored two sword strikes that bit deep into his flesh to cut down several more guards, then vaulted over the wall and vanished into the darkness. System alert. Congratulations, host. You have severely wounded the Chosen One. Reward. Primal Titan Physiology +1. Sunfall Bow +1. The moment the Sunfall Bow materialized in my hands, a surge of energy flowed from it into my body, instantly boosting me from a Tier 6 fighter to Tier 9. I was ecstatic. This was like leveling up on a rocket ship. It felt incredible. All right, let's test this Sunfall Bow on Master Valerius. I drew on all my newfound power to pull back the bowstring. A golden light, thick as mist, slowly coalesced into the shape of an arrow. Its tip blazed like a miniature sun. Behind me, the ghostly images of two colossal, godlike figures shimmered into existence. Seeing that Leo had escaped, Valerius had no desire to continue the fight. He broke away and soared towards the estate wall. I roared, Valerius, halt! The moment he turned his head, I released the arrow. The sound was like thunder cracking, and for a second, the world lost its color. The golden arrow tore through the night sky, closing the distance to Valerius in the blink of an eye. A primal fear seized him. He could feel the absolute, annihilating power contained within that single point of light. He twisted his body violently in midair, trying to dodge the fatal shot. Splat! The golden arrow still struck his left arm. The limb instantly vaporized, spraying a mist of blood across the night sky. Arg! Valerius screamed, tumbling from the air. By the time my guards reached the spot where he fell, he was gone. All that remained was a large, crimson stain on the ground. Firing that one shot had drained every ounce of energy from my body. I felt a wave of exhaustion wash over me, and I nearly collapsed. Everyone left in the courtyard stared at me as if they'd seen a ghost. The young master injured Master Valerius with a single arrow, but he's a demi-saint. The two grandmasters couldn't even scratch him, but the young master took his arm off with one shot. How was that possible? The remaining party guests, who hadn't managed to flee yet, were frozen in place. When they looked at me now, there was a new emotion in their eyes. Awe. Seeing that the fighting was over, they knew better than to linger. They made their excuses and left as quickly as they could. Half an hour later, a guard reported that Leo and the Vances had returned to the Vance family home. Good. They didn't even bother to run. They really have no respect for the Sterling family. I sent more men to their residence, ordering them to watch their every move. Marcus Cole, sir, I want you to ride for the Northern Front as fast as you can. Report everything that happened tonight to the general, and tell him I need to borrow the Wraithblade. By sunset tomorrow, I want the Vance family erased from existence. Yes, sir. Marcus Cole accepted the order, mounted a genetically engineered speed horse, and galloped off into the night. Strike them while they're weak. Never give the chosen one a chance to grow. The next evening, the atmosphere inside the old Vance family mansion was tense. Richard Vance's brow was furrowed with worry. Isabella was carefully applying medicine to Leo's wounds. Dad, what are you so worried about? She asked. What do you think? Look at the mess you two made. Calling off the engagement at the party? You've completely enraged the Sterlings. The Vance family is facing a disaster. I think maybe we should head south for a while, lay low until this blows over. Richard knew in his heart that if the young master still had his old personality, he wouldn't have been so ruthless. But for some reason, Alex was like a completely different person. It terrified him. Dad, Leo, and I know we were wrong. We didn't think it through, Isabella said dismissively. But you don't need to worry so much. Alex is only angry because we embarrassed him in front of all those guests. Besides, he killed plenty of our people too. He should have cooled down by now. He loves me so much. I bet he's already regretting it. Once I go talk to him, say a few nice things, he'll be back to being my loyal little puppy, just like before. Even now, Isabella still believed I was the same pathetic simp she could control. Though still worried, Richard's expression softened. I hope you're right. Go talk to the young master. Even if you can't marry him, we absolutely cannot lose the Sterling family's financial support. Of course, Isabella scoffed. And I'm going to make Alex come here and apologize on his knees. How dare he kill members of my family? If he doesn't show some sincere remorse, I'll never forgive him for the rest of my life. Richard finally seemed relieved. He turned to Leo with a smile. Young Leo, the Aegis Order says you're a once-in-a-century talent. You must train hard. Don't disappoint our family or Bella. Don't worry, Uncle Richard. I will become an Apex-tier warrior, maybe even ascend beyond that. And when I do, the Vance family will be my greatest supporters. Good. Such ambition in a young man. Just then, the study door was thrown open. A servant stumbled in and fell to his knees. Master, it's terrible. The Sterlings are here. They've surrounded the house. You have to come quickly. The color drained from Richard's face. Isabella's face darkened with anger. Well, I haven't even gone to settle the score with him, and he dares to show up at my door. When Richard and the others stormed into the front courtyard, they found every member of the Vance family forced to their knees, held at gunpoint by Sterling guards. Many were bruised and bloodied, clearly having been beaten. A woman shrieked, Alex, how dare you treat me like this? You let me go right now and pay my family reparations. If you don't, I'll make sure Bella never forgives you for the rest of your life. This shrew was Isabella's mother, Eleanor. She was the one who had coached her daughter on exactly how to manipulate the original Alex. Too bad for her. I wasn't that pathetic loser anymore. Who do you think you are, barking at me like a dog? What? Alex, you bastard. You dare insult me? I'll tear your mouth off. She lunged at me. Before my guards could even move, I drew my blade. In a single, fluid motion, it was out and back in its sheath. Eleanor Vance's hands flew into the air. She collapsed to the ground, writhing in agony, her eyes wide with a terror that completely replaced her earlier arrogance. Isabella went berserk. Mother, she screamed. Alex, how dare you do that to my mother? Cut off your own arms right now as an apology. If you don't even think about me ever speaking to you again. Jesus Christ. We were at the point of life and death, and she was still spouting this ridiculous, self-centered nonsense. It was baffling. Leo roared, Alex, are you even a man, attacking her mother like that? I challenge you to a duel. If you lose, you take your men and get the hell out of our house. A smirk played on my lips. All right, a duel it is. Do you want to take on my entire army by yourself, or should my army take on you? Your choice. Leo was speechless. What? Alex, you're shameless. I couldn't be bothered to argue with them. I turned my gaze to the family patriarch. Richard Vance, don't say I didn't give you a chance. You kill Leo Ryder right now, and I'll spare the rest of your family. Otherwise, I'll kill one member of your family every 30 seconds. Let's see just how many relatives you have to spare. Richard's face went white as a sheet. The other Fiancés heard this and lost their minds, begging for their lives. No, don't kill me. Master Bella, please save us. Young Master Sterling, this is all Isabella's fault. It has nothing to do with us. Please have mercy. A faint smile remained on my face, but my eyes were devoid of any warmth. In the original book, when the Vance family sacked the Sterling estate, they burned, pillaged, and murdered without restraint. Not a single one of them was innocent. Isabella's face hardened. That's enough, Alex. There's a limit to how far you can go to try and force my hand. Limit my ass. I drew my blade and cut down the two closest Vance family members. Blood sprayed through the air, splattering all over Isabella. Ah, she screamed in terror, her body trembling uncontrollably. She finally believed I was serious. Alex, stop. We could talk about this. You just want me, right? I can reconsider marrying you. Just don't be rash. No, Bella, don't. Leo roared, his face a mask of humiliation and rage. Isabella seemed to have made up her mind. She bit her lip. You win, Alex. I'll agree to marry you. Just take your men and leave. I slapped her across the face again. Are you kidding me? A piece of trash like you thinks you're worthy of stepping through the gates of the Sterling estate. Isabella was completely stunned. She stared at me, dumbfounded. For the first time, I was a total stranger to her. I looked at her father, a vicious glint in my eyes. Richard, if you don't make your move, your entire family dies today. And don't blame me for being ruthless. Think about it. For years, how many resources has my family poured into yours? It's a shame none of you knew how to appreciate it. I turned to Marcus Cole. Time's up. Do it. Another scream, and a head rolled across the stone courtyard. Isabella broke down. Sobbing, she crawled to my feet, clutching at my pants. Young master, I am sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please spare my family. If you spare them, I'll do anything you want. I kick her away in disgust. Isabella, you're in no position to bargain with me. 30 seconds later, another head fell. The remaining Fiancés were screaming, begging, and pleading. Richard Vance couldn't take it anymore. He exploded into action, lunging at Leo and striking at his head with an open palm. As a Grandmaster class fighter, his strike was like a thunderclap, a massive wave of force crashing down on Leo's skull. Leo had no time to react to the sudden attack. It was a direct hit. Isabella screamed in despair. No, but the gruesome scene everyone expected, Leo's head exploding, never happened. A brilliant golden light erupted from Leo's body, and he stood there completely unharmed. Everyone was shocked. That was a full power strike from a Grandmaster. Even a demi-saint shouldn't have been able to walk away from that unscathed. But I knew what it was. It was Leo's innate defense, his sovereign core, activating automatically to protect its host. An invincible shield that nullified all attacks. It was powerful, but it couldn't be triggered again so quickly. While Richard was still frozen in shock, Leo thrust his sword straight at his heart. The move was vicious, with no hesitation. Richard, for all his weakness, was still a Grandmaster. At the last second, he managed to twist his body, avoiding a fatal blow. But Leo's sword still pierced clean through him. Though not fatal, the wound was severe. Richard slapped Leo away with a final burst of strength, then staggered back, collapsing to the ground, vomiting blood, his life fading fast. Isabella screamed and rushed to her father's side. Dad! She turned and glared at Leo, her eyes filled with hatred. Leo, are you insane? How could you attack my father like that? Leo was also badly injured. He scrambled to his feet and knelt, trying desperately to explain. Bella, I didn't mean to. It was just instinct. A reflex. I didn't know it would hurt him so badly. Bella, I know I was wrong. I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to do it. Seeing his pathetic state, Isabella's anger subsided slightly. My cold voice cut through the air again. Marcus, continue. As I spoke, two more heads rolled. You see that, Isabella? Those people died because of you. It seems your father can't kill Leo. That means you'll have to do it yourself. You kill Leo, and I'll let the rest of your family go. How about it? Isabella's eyes went wide, her expression a storm of conflicting emotions. What? You can't bear to do it? You'd rather watch your entire family die than let your precious Leo get hurt? Now that's true love. My words broke the dam. The remaining Fiancés erupted in curses. Isabella, if it wasn't for you and that damn Leo, none of this would be happening. What is wrong with you? Do you want to see us all dead before you're satisfied? Isabella tried to defend herself. No, I don't. I never wanted this. Then why won't you do it? Is Leo's life worth more than our entire family's? Isabella turned to look at Leo and saw him gazing at her with a look of profound sorrow. Her heart melted instantly. I'm sorry, she whispered. I can't. I just can't do it. Arg. Another scream, another head hitting the ground. I clapped my hands slowly. Well, your love is truly something to behold. In that case, I suppose the family patriarch will have to be next. Richard was already severely wounded. Hearing my words, he coughed up another mouthful of blood. Isabella, do it now. Is my life, is the life of our entire family, not worth as much as that one boy? If you hadn't fallen for him, our family would never have ended up like this. You are the ruin of the Vance family. Ah! Isabella let out a grief-stricken cry. Finally, she picked up a sword and began walking, step by step, towards Leo. Leo, don't blame me for this, she said, her voice trembling. I have no choice. Leo was terrified, his eyes filled with anguish. Bella, are you really going to kill me? You said we would live or die together. Isabella faltered, the pain on her face unbearable. Richard, seeing her hesitate, snapped, Bullshit. You just saw she was easy to fool. You say you love her, but what have you ever given her? Nothing but empty promises. Meanwhile, do you know how much she gave you? All the resources our family got from the Sterlings. She gave them all to you. You tricked her out of everything. And you have the nerve to talk about dying together? Pathetic. Isabella's eyes turned to ice. She lunged, thrusting her sword at Leo. The blade, a family heirloom called the Moonlight Edge, seemed almost transparent as it shot forward, its energy aimed straight for his heart. Damn it! Leo scrambled to evade, the Moonlight Edge following him like a shadow. He finally realized Isabella was serious about killing him. A vicious look flashed in his eyes. His body blurred, disappearing for an instant before reappearing directly behind her. Isabella sensed the killing intent behind her and tried to block, but it was too late. Leo slammed his palm in her back. Boom! The force of the blow sent her flying. She coughed up a spray of blood in midair before crashing heavily to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Leo didn't stop. Leaving an afterimage in his place, he launched himself at me, his sword raised for a powerful downward slash. The brilliant energy of his blade seemed to tear a rift in space itself as it descended upon me. I showed no fear. I didn't even blink. The two grandmasters at my back moved. As one, they each delivered a powerful kick to Leo's torso. He was sent flying like a cannonball, smashing into a decorative rock garden in the courtyard. Crash! The entire structure shattered, and the ground shook violently. Leo lay in the rubble, vomiting blood, his energy completely depleted. System alert. Congratulations, host. You have once again severely wounded the Chosen One. Reward. Unrestricted tier advancement +1. Divine grade movement technique phantom step +1. As the mechanical voice faded, my power level surged, jumping from tier 9 directly to Grandmaster class. My two Grandmasters moved in to finish the job, but a black shadow suddenly appeared, blocking their path. It was Master Valerius, the arm I'd shot off, now crudely bandaged. Leo's eyes lit up with renewed hope. Master, he called out weakly. I smirked. Valerius, you were lucky to escape with your life yesterday. You actually dared to come back and die. Valerius's eyes were filled with venom. Alexander Sterling, I never imagined someone so young could be so vicious. Today, I will cripple you myself. I replied casually, Valerius, this is a feud between myself and the Fiancée. The Aegis Order has interfered time and time again. Aren't you afraid of bringing destruction upon your entire organization? He hesitated, a clear struggle playing out on his face. I gave him one last chance. Valerius, I'll give you one more opportunity. Leave now and I can let this go. If you continue to obstruct me, I will flatten the Aegis Order. Valerius glanced at the weakened Leo, and his expression hardened. Young master, it's not that the Aegis Order wishes to be your enemy. It's that I can no longer stand by and watch you slaughter the innocent. What a load of sanctimonious crap. One of my handmaidens brought me the Sterling family signature weapon. I slowly took the blade, known as Obsidian. Since the Aegis Order has so little regard for my family, then allow me to see what you're really made of. Suddenly, a voice whispered in my mind. Young master, you mustn't. I knew it was Silas, the Wraith Blade, protecting me from the shadows. But my voice was firm. It's fine. Silas said no more. The Vance mansion was located in a prominent part of the city. The commotion had already drawn a crowd of powerful onlookers from various factions, all watching from a distance. When they heard I was going to fight Master Valerius myself, they were stunned. What? The Sterling heir is going to duel Valerius? Is he insane? Valerius is a demi-saint. He's been famous for decades. This is suicide. So arrogant. Youth truly is wasted on the young. I ignored their jeers. Lifting obsidian, I charged straight at Valerius. I wanted to see just how powerful this primal titan physiology of mine really was. Leo could barely contain his glee. I can't believe the sterling heir is such an idiot. Valerius's face was a mask of contempt. He moved in a blur, leaving an afterimage as he rushed towards me. But I activated Phantom Step. My own body dissolved into a series of flickering shadows, moving even faster than he was. The dark energy radiating from obsidian clashed with the blue light of Valerius's sword. We became a whirlwind of light and shadow, the sound of our impacts a deafening roar. The longer we fought, the more horrified Valerius became. A storm was raging in his heart. The onlookers were dumbfounded. What's going on? How was the young master so strong? My God, that's a demi-saint. And it looks like the young master is actually winning? This is insane. They all said Leo Ryder was a once-in-a-century talent. If that's true, then what does that make the sterling heir? A once-in-a-millennium prodigy. Leo clenched his fists, his eyes burning with a deep, venomous hatred. Damn it, I'm supposed to be the main character. Isabella, who had been on the verge of death, had been silently gloating, assuming I was about to be killed. Now, she looked at me with an incredibly complex expression. Then she glanced over at Leo, and her heart turned to ice. Boom! With a final, earth-shattering explosion, the energy from our blades erupted outwards. The rock gardens and stone sculptures in the courtyard were blasted into the air before exploding into dust. The few remaining Vance family members with low power levels were torn apart by the shockwave, dying instantly. The crowd of onlookers was frozen in stunned silence. Die Ultmann! I roared. The massive, godlike phantoms reappeared behind me, their hands gripping a colossal shadow blade as they brought it down in a devastating cleave. The dark energy from the attack tore through the sky, a strike like divine punishment. A fierce wind whipped through the area, kicking up a storm of sand and stone. The single blow was so powerful it seemed to dim the very heavens. Valerius cried out in alarm, hastily raising his sword to block. Crack! His longsword shattered. His body was slammed into the ground with brutal force, carving out a massive crater and sending a plume of earth into the air. He lay at the bottom, gasping and spitting up blood, barely alive. The entire area fell dead silent. I raised my blade and rushed towards him, ready to end this for good. Stop! A white-robed old man suddenly appeared in midair. It was the director of the Aegis Order himself, the Saint-class powerhouse, Grandmaster Cashin. I acted as if I hadn't heard him. My blade was already raised high. Valerius, go to hell. Without a moment's hesitation, I brought obsidian down toward his neck. Cashin roared in fury. He slashed his own sword through the air, and a wave of energy, so immense it seemed to warp space itself, shot towards my back, moving faster than my own attack. Everyone's heart leaped into their throat. This was an attack from a Saint-class warrior. If it hit me, I was dead. Boom! At the last possible second, a man in a simple green tunic appeared behind me. With a casual wave of his hand, he simply slapped the world-destroying wave of energy, causing it to dissipate into nothing. Schlick! As Valerius stared up in disbelief, my blade sliced clean through his neck, severing his head. My brother! Cashin screamed. Master! Leo cried. I picked up Valerius's head by the hair and held it up, looking at the Aegis Order's director with a mocking grin. When I want someone dead, no one can stop me. The entire city was in shock. A demi-saint powerhouse, killed by the sterling heir? This was Master Valerius, Vice Director of the Aegis Order, a legendary figure who had been famous for decades. No one could believe what they had just seen, but it was the undeniable truth. A new legend rises. An old master falls. After today's battle, the name of the sterling heir will be known throughout the nation. Cashin was overcome with grief and rage, his eyes bloodshot. A terrifying killing intent exploded from his body. The very air around us seemed to tremble, and the weaker fighters in the crowd turned pale, feeling like small boats tossed in a raging sea. This is the power of a saint class? Just his aura alone is suffocating me. But before Cashin could make a move, Silas, the Wraithblade, acted. He drew his sword. The energy that erupted from it seemed to stretch for miles, and with a single, elegant slash, he cut Grandmaster Cashin in two. You dare to attack the young master, Silas said, his voice flat. You deserve to die. Cashin's death didn't cause as much of stir. After all, the Wraithblade's legend was built on a mountain of Saint-class corpses. It was a known fact. The Aegis Order had picked the wrong family to provoke. Most of the Van Cess were dead. The last few were on the ground, desperately begging for mercy. Richard and Isabella Vance were filled with a regret so deep it felt like it was devouring them from the inside. To think they had thrown their entire family into the abyss, all for Leo Ryder. The hatred was unbearable. Isabella struggled to crawl towards me. Young master, I was wrong. Please, let me go. I don't want to die. I'll be your servant. I'll do anything you ask. Isabella, I told you long ago, I said, my voice is cold as a tombstone. You humiliate the Sterling family. You die. There are no other options. No, please, I know I was wrong now. My eyes were emotionless. As she stared up at me with utter remorse, I swung my blade and took her head. Marcus Cole no longer hesitated, finishing off the last of the Vances. When I walked over to Leo, his eyes were wide with terror. You can't kill me. I'm the protagonist of this world. How can you kill me? This isn't how the story is supposed to go. What went wrong? It wasn't supposed to be like this. Arg. Without the slightest hesitation, I cut him down. So what if you're the protagonist? This young master will kill you all the same. System alert. Congratulations, host. You have eliminated the chosen one. Reward. Unrestricted tier advancement +2. Chaos Edgeblade +1. Sovereign Core +1. Holy crap. That's a reward. I leveled up twice. I'm a Saint class powerhouse now. 3 months later, I was in my study, giving one of my handmaidens a thorough physical examination. Marcus Cole burst in, his face panicked. Young master, it's a disaster. The general was summoned to the capital by a presidential decree. He's being detained in D.C. What the fuck? That goddamn president. He wouldn't dare. I slammed my hands on the desk and shot to my feet. Young master, what are your orders? What else? It's time for a rebellion. The story is over. Confetti falls.